All right, so here we are in Logic Pro. I have a song here by a band called Sea of Leaves. The song is called Jokers, Jacks, and Kings. It's kind of a punk rock, indie vibe. There's lots of instruments. So there's drum tracks, kick that's the inside mic, kick out, outside mic, snare, top and bottom, overheads, which gives you the cymbals and overall drum feel. Then there's a room microphone, which gives you ambience and space and size to the drums. And there's tom 1 and 2. Then there's bass guitar, DI, and amp. So the DI is the direct signal. The amp is the bass amp mic'd up. Then there's like a whole mess of electric guitars. And then there's some 2 synth tracks, a synth and a synth lead vocal, and then backing vocals. And if we go to the mixer view, this is the sequencer view here, or the range view, whatever you want to call it. If I go to the mixer view, I've already set them up in buses. So the drums are bus 1, which means that all of the drums go into this one channel before it hits the stereo out and to the master, which means if I apply anything to the drum bus, it gets applied to all of the drum instruments that are going to it. And that's the case for all of them. The bass is 2 instruments, the DI here and the amp here. So if I apply anything to that bass bus, both instruments are getting affected by them. And so I want to deal with the drums first. And so let's go find some drums. So let's start with up here. What does it sound like? Kind of a cool sound. I want to mute the room. Gives you basically a sound of what the close mics sound like. Honestly, it's not a terrible drum sound. So what can we do? All right, so let's go over to the instruments here. We're only dealing with instruments 1 through 8. So let's start with the kick drum. I'm going to create a looping section, if I remember how to do that. So this is just the kick mic. As you can hear, some other instruments are coming through, and that's okay. So let's deal with the kick in first, see what that sounds like. Okay, kick out. Sounds like a lot of extra stuff is happening. All right, so let's see. So usually the kick in mic is getting more of the beater, so the attack, so the crack of the kick drum. And the out mic is getting more of like the whoop sound. So this is getting a very, I don't know, let's see. So I'm gonna throw a compressor on here first. Let's see what happens. So dynamics, compressor, mono. So let's see, ratio, I want to put a 3 just to start. 3.1's fine. Okay. So if I raise the attack, it means that more of the initial hit is coming through, which is what we want, and then it'll squish the rest of it. So here's what it sounds like without it. Again. Ooh. This feels pretty good. Let's do the same thing to the other one, the other mic. Let's see what happens. It's a lot of snare bleed in that. All right. I almost feel like the two microphones are in the wrong place. I feel like I'm getting more attack from the kick out than I am the kick in. Let's turn off the... Actually, let's bring this up. No, that's way too much. Let's add some EQ to this sucker. All right, so now we're going to EQ the first mic. A little bit of high pass filter. See, you can see right here is probably where the fundamental of the kick is. So if I boost that, ooh, there we are. Okay. Let me change the shape a little bit. That. Okay, it looks like the thing is a little hot signal-wise. So let's go back to the compressor. Let us... Whoa. Okay, good. Now this is the kick out mic. So let's pull that fundamental around 50 again. Yeah, I'm getting like nothing here. So I'm gonna use this to give me more attack. So attack on kick drums usually around like 3 to 4K. Is bringing a lot of snare, which I'm not really enjoying, but all right, so that's the kick. Now there's no ambience on here, so it sounds kind of dry. Now let's pull up the snare top. Okay, that's a pretty clean snare sound. It's got some hi-hat in there, that's okay. Let's throw some EQ. First, we want to high pass this. We don't want any of the low rumbleness coming through. You can see there's a fundamental of the snare right there, so let's pull that up. Just try to give it a little taste. A little taste? What am I saying? Why? There we are. Not too much, but some low end makes a snare feel a bit bigger, which is kind of cool. Let's... So I kind of want to find some more fundamental sounds of this snare. Do not like that sound at all. You know, I'm not going to do too much. I think that's okay for now. Let's add some high end, see if that's anything. I feel like that's just bringing a lot of hi-hat, so let's not do that. All right, so let's go now to the other snare. See what that sounds like. So it gives you a lot of the crack, which is a funny phrase. Same thing, high pass. I don't want any low stuff coming through. I kind of want this to be more like that sound. So that's about here in terms of frequencies. Okay, together. Now it definitely needs some compression. So let's see. 3. I'm going to press this pretty hard, see what happens. That's too much gain. I want to drive this a little bit harder. There we are. So this is off, on. I don't know if I can tell much of a difference, but that's okay. Let's try this too. Yeah, let's go back to the other compressor for the snare top. Increase the threshold. Now with the kick. This one is a little big. I feel like I'm missing something with this snare. I do not like that. Yeah, that I want to remove. I still feel like the snare is not punchy enough. So, I'm going to increase the gain. Alright, that's okay for now. So now let's bring in the overheads. Actually, I'm going to only listen to the overheads. So same thing, EQ. Let's pull out some of the low, because I don't want the low to... So this is the snare coming in here. I don't mind the snare coming in too much, because it feels good with the... But let's compress it a little bit. See how muting the overheads, which are a stereo pair mic, it sounds very right down the middle, where the overheads make the drum set feel stereo and full. Okay, so this is the room microphone. Now this one can be fun. We can play with this too. It's not... What the... All right, so that's a drum sound. To hear what that sounds like before we did anything, I have to turn these all off. All right. That's interesting. I feel like I didn't do anything. Oh, I like that better. There we go. That feels pretty good. These are different flavors of compression. All right. That's cool. Now we can, before moving on from drums, I still have the toms here, which I don't know. Let's see, tom 1 and 2, nothing, 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 nothing. Here we go. Okay, the drum bus is peaking, so let's actually add some compression there and see what we can do. And maybe it can... Feels like I just have too much in the mix. Okay, so I like to pan the toms so they're not right down the middle. Maybe even more severe. All right, let's start with the rack tom. So the first thing I notice is a lot of stuff happening in there. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put on a gate. I don't like the way that sounds. So I'm trying to basically get it so it pulls away some of the extra stuff. Let's check out the... Another gate for the floor tom. So I don't want it to mute whatever's coming through because that may sound like it's artificial, but... All right, now I want to EQ the rack tom. So there's not much happening super low, and it's got some fundamental right about there, so I'm going to bring that out. Ooh, there's something maybe happening here too. It sounds like the floor tom actually coming through, so let's narrow this. That's a little much. Still feels like a lot. Okay, now sometimes toms have a really gross frequency. And we can bring out some a little bit more of the attack around here. That's too narrow. I think it's got plenty actually. That's not helping any. Okay. Without a lot of stuff coming through, no, with and EQ. It's a little bit more focused. Now let's check out the floor tom. Put a light amount of this just to pull some of the frequencies out. All right, let's find the fundamental. I think it's about here. Well, that's a nice low rumble right there. Maybe there's another one. Oh, I like that. So I pulled out some of the fundamental for the rack tom, the higher pitch tom. And then same thing, about 500. Just doesn't sound, honestly doesn't need much pulled out. But maybe this can get some more attack. I don't really hear much changing. All right, let's see what that sounds like now. All right, maybe this compressor's a little too strong. Okay, let's give these drums a listen now. Okay, let's start over here. What? Oh, duh. This is the drum bus compressor. There's a frequency of, do you hear that in the snare? Wong, wong, wong. I don't like the way that sounds. Let's give that a listen. No, it's not snare bottom mic. Can you hear that? Let's pull up an EQ on this. Nope, wrong one. What are we looking at here? The room mic. Okay, so let's go back. Room mic. So I'm just going to pull that down. Whoop, wrong one. Cool. Actually, you know what? I hate to hear that over the whole kit. So let's go back to this. Back to the overhead. Nope, room mic. What do we pull? 158. So let's do the same thing to the bus. $158 minus. It just pulls it out a little bit, but you know what? I think that makes a difference. So that's pretty aggressive. Now, before moving on, this is a long video and I apologize. I want to add some reverb to some of these drums. So now I'm going to use a send, and we're going to send it to bus 7. So bus 7 is going to become a reverb. Reverb 1. Okay, so now over here, bus 7, nothing's going to it yet. I'm sorry. I'm sending, it's enabled that the kick in and the kick out can go there, but I haven't added any, so let's just add some. This is going to give us some width and size to our kick drum. Reverb, Silververb, sure, why not? Nope, don't like this interface. So we're gonna try a different one. Reverb, Chrome Reverb, that sounds cool. Okay.